we go. So yeah, just sitting comfortably, whatever that is for you, to begin with. And we'll allow our spine to just lengthen. I'm going to sit this way because it's not possible for me to cross my legs and sit comfortably. So, but sit however you like. So lengthening the spine, maybe letting the eyes be soft or closed, and we'll just begin to slow down our breathing and kind of go inside here. So elongating the breath, drawing it all the way in and down, and then letting it come all the way back out and up. So if you want to, you can add a little sound on the exhale just to help release. Be very helpful to just let an ah or an om or a sigh. If it feels right. Just allowing our belly to relax. Our shoulders, the jaw, the tongue. The brow. Slowing down our breathing puts us automatically into that parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxing one. And then taking one hand to the low belly, just below the navel, do a little gentle tap on that point there as you continue to breathe. Breathing slowly and fully. Tapping the hara or the dantian, power center. And then we'll bring our hands up to around our heart and gently tap around our heart and our thymus. So we kind of just wake up that area, stimulate the immune system a little bit. Continuing to breathe nice and slow and full without forcing the breath. Then bringing our hands up to our head, we'll just massage the scalp a little bit and wake up our head and all those little meridians that are running across our scalp. Get a little tingle. And then bringing our hands to our ears, we can massage and rub our ears a little bit. So we kind of bring on the vagus nerve, bring that on board, regulating. So maybe pulling and gently rubbing and pulling the ears, massaging there. And bringing our fingers inside of our ears, just gently pull down and hold and breathe. You might feel just an automatic kind of relaxation happen when you do that. Good. And then we'll release and bring our arms out and just move our spine a little bit. So reaching the arms forward, pulling the heart back toward the spine, and then bringing our arms back and lifting our heart. So a little flapping wings as we reach forward and reach back and lift the heart. Letting our spine do a little bit of arching and rounding and kind of stimulating our heart chakra. Waking up our spine. Good. And the next time we reach our arms back, you can go ahead and let your arms come by your side and relax. And then bring your feet forward into butterfly like I'm doing. So you might like a pillow under your knees, just for support or not. We want to just let our legs totally relax in this position. Hips go. Making sure our pelvis is upright and not tilted back, and then just come forward over the legs. So it's relaxing forward over our legs in butterfly, allowing the legs and hips to let go. You might like to massage your feet while you're here. Just give your feet a little bit of attention. So this is a really good way to kind of begin. That's why we do it a lot at the beginning, so that we can gently open our hips and give our sacrum a lovely stretch. Just letting go and not forcing the stretch. We find that the rules of yin, which we always want to keep in mind, the 3 tattvas of yin, which are that we come to our edge, right? We find our edge, whatever that is, where we start to feel some resistance, and we just stop there and hold still. Second tattva is stillness. And the 3rd tattva is time. We stay there for a length of time. And it's that magic ingredient of time, along with gravity, that does the work. So our job is to breathe and continue to breathe and make sure that we're not forcing our breath, but breathing fully, slowly, fairly slowly. Yin is meditation practice, really. It's a body meditation practice. There's many ways to meditate. So in yin, we come inside, we notice what's present. Notice what's present in our body, in our mind, in our heart, just what's ever there, without judgment, just acceptance, without trying to change anything. Don't try to change anything. Sometimes we come further into the pose as time goes on. Sometimes we need to back out of the pose a little bit. Just listen to our body. So we'll go ahead and slowly walk ourselves up to sitting here. And always coming out of the pose slowly. We might lift our knees and do a little windshield wiper or whatever feels good to you. Move the legs a little bit between poses is very helpful for the flow of blood and energy. Right? And then we'll open into a straddle. So however wide feels comfortable to you, you can always change it. So again, the pelvis needs to be upright. So if you find your pelvis back here and you can't easily sit upright, you can start by pressing yourself forward, and you can also put a bolster under your hips. So if you need a bolster under your hips, that's really important if your pelvis doesn't come upright here. Okay, so we'll turn toward our left leg and just start to come forward, rooting our sits bones, just allowing the body to relax. Don't try to come fully into the pose right away. We don't pull ourselves into it. We just breathe and allow gravity to have us. So just the width of the straddle will depend on your, your own body. There might be a little bit of an intense stretch in the knee if your straddle is too wide, or there you might not be able to come forward, or your sacrum might be a little bit uncomfortable. And if that's the case, just bring your legs a little closer together or sit on a bolster. So just totally let go. I want to be able to let go into the pose. Those of us that have been doing this a while find it quicker to let go into the pose. And if we reach our right arm a little bit more toward our foot, you'll really accentuate the stretch that we're getting in our lateral hip area and through the side body, getting into the gallbladder channel, spleen, and the gallbladder, spleen channel are the main ones that we are stretching here, but there's also stretch happening in the inner legs, getting into the liver and kidney channels, and a lot happening here in this stretch. Really opening the hips and stretching the sacrum, of course. So just letting go here. If you find you'd like to accentuate the stretch a little more, you can bring your right arm back and sort of turn a little bit to face forward, and maybe even extend that arm. That's an option. You'll really feel that stretch if you find that to be what your body wants to do right now. For however long your arm wants to stay up there, it can always float down to the leg. Just finding what works for you today. Straddle might widen eventually. When we come to our edge, over time, our edge changes. Of course, when we're rounding our back in a forward fold type of pose like this, we naturally stretch our spine and decompress the vertebra. So one of the, probably maybe the only way to really stretch the spine is to do a forward fold type of pose, whether it's standing or sitting. And especially if the head is hanging and that's comfortable for you to let your head hang. Some people don't find that to be comfortable, but if it is, you really get into the neck as well and just increase that stretch through the spine. Okay, so let's go ahead and slowly come out of that by walking our hands in to come up to sitting. And we always want to come out of a yin pose slowly. It takes the tissue a little bit of time to bounce back. And if you need to move your legs around a little bit, before we go to the other side, feel free to do that. Otherwise, you can just turn to the right leg, start to come forward. Yeah, just relaxing forward over that leg. Change your straddle if it wants to change, and you can feel free to do a totally different pose than what we are doing if your body doesn't want to do this or it causes some kind of pain or too much discomfort. So any pose that's a yin-like pose will work. Right? There's many to choose from. So that's as long as you're doing a yin-like type of pose, you can explore that. Stretching or twisting or compressing, we're doing yin. It's the stretching and the twisting and the compressing that really causes our deeper layers of fascia and ligaments, tendons, all those deeper layers of fascia to reinvigorate, right? And life force and the flow gets going and more in those areas. If you want to either reach your hand a little bit, your left hand a little bit more towards your foot, or if you feel like you want to bring your left arm back and turn to face forward and then bring your arm overhead, that's an option to also deepen into that stretch a little bit. Making sure your neck is comfortable, your head and neck, and your shoulder. Yin, we like a little bit of discomfort. We want a little bit of resistance, but not to the point of pain. Don't want to be in pain. Having the arm up over the head like this just adds a little bit of yang to our yin pose as well, because it's a more active, our upper body is more active than our lower body. The balance of yin and yang is well understood in the East, not so much in the West, but they understand the importance of the balance between the yin and the yang of life. Problems will arise when that balance is upset. There's too much of one or the other. Often with yin poses, we include a little bit of yang. You might notice as we are in a pose for a while that our breath starts to really slow down and become easier, more relaxed. So we'll go ahead and start to slowly walk ourselves up to sitting using our hands. Oh. And then just for a brief time, we're going to come forward between the legs. Now you can have a pillow here for support if you like. Let your arms be on the floor if that's comfortable. You want to be supported. Yeah, if not used to doing yin, holding these long held stretches, it's totally fine to come in and out or do something different. Those of us that have been doing this a while, we don't notice that it can be a little bit challenging because we're so used to it that we just get into the zone and we let go and we can stay there for a long time. So feel free to do whatever your body needs to do. Listen to your body. I think actually people that are you're just beginning to do yin, or you haven't done it in a long time, it's probably best not to hold the poses for more than like 2 minutes. So just shorter time to adapt. Also, doing these stretches for a long time will really can really bring things to the surface. And, the issues are in our tissues, right? So doing these long held poses can cause emotions to come up, feelings, or just discomfort, uncomfortable feelings in the body, or things that need to come out. It's good to drink a lot of water. Okay, so we'll go ahead and come up there slowly and very slowly coming to sitting. Have a bolster, you can move it. You want to lean back and bring your legs together and shake them out. You want to bend your knees and kind of windshield wiper the legs. And we can bring our hands behind our hips and pull the shoulders back and lift the heart, and maybe lift and lower the hips a few times to help circulate the energy through our legs. A little blood flow. I can't believe my cat's still there. Okay. He likes yin. All right, and then we'll come back around to sitting, and we'll do shoelace pose with the left leg underneath and the right leg crossed over with the knees stacked. And if this isn't doable for you, you can also do half shoelace with the left leg extended, right knee, right leg crossed over. Okay, so, or you can sit cross-legged for the first part. Okay, so just finding whatever works for you. And then we're going to bring our arms into eagle. So right arm under left arm, and just placing the fingers of your right hand against the left palm. Just letting your shoulders kind of get used to this pose, and your arms by relaxing the arms. kind of a nice thing to do when we're crossing our body like this too. If you want to add this, is just put the tip of your tongue rested on the roof of your mouth and right behind the teeth. And that will help connect our yin yang channels and the circuitry in our body as you breathe. So if you want to add that piece, you can. You can also change or move your arms around by lifting the elbows or moving your hands farther away, or you can rest your elbows on your right leg and just lean forward. Whatever feels good to your body. Right, a great stretch for the small intestine meridian, especially this one, but getting into the upper body meridians, all those upper body meridians get a little bit of a stretch here. Of course, a stretch in our back, shoulder blades, and across our whole back. Anytime you want to release your arms, feel free to do so or stay longer. And if you do release the arms, you might just come forward and relax over the legs for a little while. Stay in eagle as long as you want, if it feels good to you. Obviously, if you're in half shoelace with the left leg straight out in front, it does change the stretch into more of a stretch for the back of the leg and hip instead of the lateral part of our hips, and the compression is greater in shoelace, the joints. But they're both good. You can also come onto your back into a supine shoelace with your legs crossed like this and pull them into your chest. Right? So that's another choice to do this on your back. On our back, we won't get as much compression in the joints, but that's okay. It's a good option. And if you are in half shoelace, you might want to wedge your hands underneath your knee for support, right? To kind of support your knee. A lot of pressure on that knee. It can be. You're leaning forward. These long held stretches for the hips, any one of them that we do, are really obviously good for stretching the IT band and the lateral hip area, but also just overall good for the health of our sacrum, keeping that channel that runs up the side of our leg and hip, keep it healthy. So we're on the precipice of a new moon today, another new moon. Happens every month. And so we're in the dark of the moon before the new moon. And that is a new moon in Pisces. So there's usually right at the dark of the moon, there can be a tendency to want to go inward and slow down and just maybe not do much. So it's a good opportunity to do yin. And this moon, because it's in Pisces, this new moon brings us into the realm of feeling and intuition, the Piscean realm. So let's go ahead and slowly come out. If you are on your back, you can take your time getting up. And we'll uncross the legs. Bring them in front of us and shake them out, move them around. Whatever feels good to you. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Bend the knees. I need to do more for my right leg than you probably do. And then we'll cross the left leg over the right again, either in full shoelace or half shoelace, or sit cross-legged for the first part if you want to do eagle. So bringing our left arm under our right and coming into the arms version of eagle, the arms part of eagle pose. And just let your arms relax, or you can lift the elbows or bring your hands away or rest your elbows on your left leg or whatever feels good to you. Of course, anytime you want to release the arms, you might not want to stay here very long. That's okay. Stay as long as you want. Eagle. Then just come forward over your legs. Or you might need to release your arms for a moment and then come back into it. Right? We didn't always do that. So where this new moon in Pisces is occurring, which is at the beginning of the sign, is linked with the Titan Okeanos, a primal sea divinity. Okeanos was, in myth, was the great river encircling the world, where the sun rose from at dawn and returned to at sunset. An incredibly fertile god. It is said that Okeanos and his wife Tethys, who was the goddess of the sea, gave birth to the 3,000 river gods and the innumerable Oceanid nymphs, who created the aquatic life forms that bring purification and nourishment to the human realm. The rivers, streams, and fountains, and actually the whole sea issued from Okeanos's broad, mighty stream. So this place where the primal waters reside is at this this point of the new moon in Pisces, the very beginning of Pisces, very primal and intuitive. And it kind of links us to the dream realm. We can connect the reality of our waking life with our dream life and might find them even intermingling a little bit, which happens to me sometimes. Okay, so if you are in shoelace on your back, move slowly to come up. And if you are in shoelace sitting, walk your hands up slowly. Take your time. Want to give the connective tissue a chance to come back. Do whatever your legs might need to do. We're going to come into onto our belly, into Sphinx next. So you might want to have a pillow or folded up blanket handy. And start by coming onto your belly with your arms by your side. So we're coming into infant pose, it's called, which is the same as the locust pose in yang yoga. So we're going to just reach our arms back and just lift up for a moment and hold so we can engage all of our back muscles, right? And just breathe here. And then we'll bring our elbows under our shoulders into Sphinx. So you might want to move around a little bit or find how close or how far your elbows want to be toward your body or away from each other. You can always lower yourself down like that. Just finding your here. And your head might want to look up for a little while and kind of stretch the front of the neck, or you might like to look side to side or move it around or rest your chin on your hands or whatever feels good to you and you're comfortable for the head and neck. And the legs, however wide apart they want to be. The Sphinx is this nice little back bend that we're doing is so good for our kidneys and our kidney meridian. This is the best medicine for kidneys right here. You can also lift your feet if you want to increase the lumbar compression and the stretch in the front of the legs and hips. So the kidney houses our will and our stamina. So we nourish the kidneys. We nourish our will and our stamina at the same time. We unlock that door of life that resides between the second and third lumbar vertebra in Chinese medicine, called the door of life. Houses our essence, our Jing energy. So we stimulate that in this pose. It's the going back and forth, of course, between the forward fold poses that we do and the back bend poses, which is primarily Sphinx and Seal that we do. It's that going back and forth between those that is so good for our sacrum and keeps it from getting fixated and just immobile. The sacrum can get fixated as we get older, especially. Keeps it healthy. So we're going to take a short break in half frog. So if you want to just slide your left leg, knee toward shoulder, look to the left, resting your head on your hands. You can also bring your right arm alongside your body if that's more comfortable. Just let the hip relax. And then we'll slide that leg back down, come back into Sphinx. If you want, you can put a folded up blanket under your arms to lift yourself a little higher, or come into Seal by widening the arms a bit and straightening them. And your Seal can be a lower Seal, or you can walk your hands closer in, or you can put a pillow under the pelvis. So supported Seal is really nice if you want to come into Seal, but it's challenging for your arms and your back bend isn't enough, right? So we can kind of support ourselves that way. It's not quite as intense. But feel free to go in and out of any of those variations that we do in Sphinx and Seal. Whatever your body needs to do for the next couple of minutes. Might find your butt muscles tensing up, especially in Seal, because it's a lot of compression on the lumbar, but it's totally natural and fine to do that. It's probably helpful. Obviously, a good strengthening for our shoulders and arms, our upper body. Doing Sphinx and Seal, as well as getting that nourishment to the kidneys. So these few days of the dark of the moon, a little bit before the new moon, and a little bit after the next day or so, good time to plant seeds of intention for this time that we're in. Plant the seeds and watch them grow. Something that you want to bring forward in your life. This is the time to plant those seeds. It's a very good time for fostering the imagination and the imaginal realms because of Pisces. So I don't remember who said the quote of nothing or everything that is created was first imagined, something to that effect. First had to be imagined. Everything begins in the imagination, the imaginal world. we can let ourselves imagine. John Lennon song. If you are in Seal, you can start to make your way back down gradually to Sphinx, just so we can kind of more easily come out of the pose. And then we'll just take a short break in half frog on the right side to balance. So if you slide your right knee up, look to the right, and let your left arm relax alongside you if that's more comfortable. And half frog is a really good opportunity to really tune into the energy flow of your body, noticing, especially after Sphinx and Seal, just noticing the energy flow, right? Okay, and then go ahead and slide that leg down. We're going to make our way up to our knees and hands. You're able to be on your all fours. And just start to slowly move the spine. So curl the tailbone under. You might even like to press your hips back a little bit and let it lift back up and then come into an arch. But just move slowly and gently, right? The spine has been two extreme positions, forward folding and then the back bend. So we want to move slowly and gently here. Like grow a little bigger as you go, right? Start to round more and arch more. Then we'll come to neutral and just circle our hips around and let your body just kind of go wherever it wants to go. And then the other direction, circling. And then we'll sit back into a child's pose. If you aren't able to do a child's pose for some reason, you can always come onto your back into like a happy baby sort of pose with your knees open and pulling the feet down. Okay. You might like your knees to be apart or like them to be together, doesn't matter. Feet can be apart and open the hips more if you like, or whatever feels good to your body. So many benefits to child's pose. It's very, very excellent pose for a lot of things. Kidneys, the pancreas, obviously the hips stretch and the sacrum stretch, the ankle stretch. Good way to compress the hips and the knees. kind of without too much force, right? It's still getting the compression. Okay, so we'll come up from there and we'll bring ourselves onto our back. And if you need bolstering for twist, you can bring your pillows over to the left side if you're using bolstering. And just coming onto our back, we'll hug our knees, rock our body around a little bit. And then holding onto our right leg, let's put our left foot down and slide that leg long down the mat on the ground. And then just opening your knee out to the side, pull your foot in toward your hip. Just slide your foot in. So you feel that, feel a stretch in the kind of the front and inner part of your thigh area. And then we're going to guide our right leg across come into a twist. You might need to adjust your hips a bit and extending our right arm out from our right shoulder, a little bit bent and a little bit up. So first making sure our shoulders all the way on the ground, and then finding I need to find more pillows because my cat is still on my pillow. Finding your leg in a supported position here so your bones can relax. Right, so letting yourself come into this twist here. And you might start with the leg a little bit high up. And then as you breathe, the leg might start to kind of relax down more, but just try to let the leg be supported in whatever way you can. So when our bones relax, we can let go to the stretch, right, and the twist. So, and if our knee is higher up in the twist, we bring the twist more to the upper part of our spine. If our knee is lower, we bring it more into the lower part of the spine. Personal preference. You could turn the head whatever direction you feel like your head wants to go and move it around. Twists on, especially at the end of the practice, really helps us equilibrate our nervous system and bring our spine back into balance as well. As well as massaging our internal organs and assisting our digestive system a little bit. Good prevention against the cold and flu bugs that are maybe floating around. Okay, so we'll start to come out by slowly taking hold of our right leg and pulling it in, coming onto our back, kind of centering ourselves on our back, hugging our knees in, rock around a little bit. Then we'll put our right foot down, holding onto our left leg, straighten that right leg long. You can open your knee out to the side and slide your foot in towards your hip, towards your butt. And if you have bolsters, of course, you can move them to the other side. Hello, Jake. I'm going to gooch myself. So accommodating. And we'll guide our left leg across the body, letting our left arm extend out a little bit and a little bit up so we can stimulate the heart meridian, pericardium meridian, the large intestine meridian, all those upper body meridians, the lung. So just finding your left shoulder on the ground and your left leg supported somehow in this twist on this side. Shift the hips if they need to shift. Move the head however it wants to, position the head however it wants to go, or move it around. I think Jake, my cat Jake, particularly loves to hang out with me during class now because my dog doesn't come in here when I'm teaching now. So it's sort of mommy and me time for Jake. He likes some attention. Not getting enough attention now that I have a dog. So that knee Higher up, we'll bring the twist now more into the upper part of our spine, or the knee lower down into the lower part of the spine, just finding where you like it, where your body wants to be. You might notice your body starting to really relax on the second side of this twist. The longer we can be in a twist, the better, in my opinion. But short twists don't do nearly as much, aren't nearly as beneficial as a long held twist. Or they work in different ways, actually, for different purposes. So if you want to stay in the twist a little bit longer, feel free to do so. Or if you feel like you want to come out, you can slowly come onto your back and maybe hug your knees into your chest, and whatever feels good, maybe curl into a ball. And we'll just take a moment to integrate. So finding a comfortable position on your back, whether your knees are bent or legs are straight, just really make it comfortable for yourself. You want to bolster underneath something. And just paying attention to the breath and just going inside and noticing your body, how you feel. Okay, just noticing how you feel and how the breath might have slowed a little bit, and your mind might feel a little bit more relaxed. Allowing our breath to circulate the energy, the chi, through our body. Just giving thanks to our body for being there for us. You'd say your body's your best friend. It's the closest friend you have. And giving thanks to our breath, even closer, even closer than the body or the mind is our breath. Giving thanks to the earth, the Gaia, for supporting us, continuing to be there. Nothing was ever created that wasn't first imagined. Feel free to continue to lay down and relax or go to sleep or get up slowly. Thank you all for coming.